So I was always interested in form and geometry even as a child. I used to play with Legos as a child, and this made me want to explore architecture. I did my graduation in NIT Trichy, where I learned the fundamentals of climatology and principles of building. From there, I went to the AA for to explore more into form research and computation and how buildings can be better performing in nature. I worked in Shanghai and worked on really large scale projects, like urban scale projects like central business districts, whole complexes of hospitality and mixed use centers, and also worked on some competitions for urban regeneration. So this kind of fueled me to think of bringing these ideas to India as a global design practice that is based in India. So I started Morphemy 10 years back with this idea. Now we are currently doing high-rise projects, a lot of independent residences, hospitality projects, and other laboratories. So that's been the journey right so far. So I've always grown up as a child in larger settings. My grandparents' place was quite huge, and also when I grew up in Iran, where we had this my folks were doctors, so we had this very huge campus and a single tiny house in it, surrounded by a lot of trees and plantation, and this kind of obviously shaped how I perceived buildings should be. And when I came to India, and when I think about practices, I always think about having nature very close to you, whether it's a small house in a very crowded setting, or if it's a campus like this where it is surrounded by nature already. So the idea to integrate nature and architecture is quite an ordinary one, which I think any architect or human being would consider in their design. And when it comes to parametricism, I think it's generally computation in nature. I mean, you're trying to understand form, geometry, buildings, and it's a constant attempt to make buildings be better in terms of how they perform, but also in terms of how we want them to be perceived in terms of form, geometry. So these things, how do they come together, and how we want them to act together to kind of create a unique experience inside the building for the clients or the users, is what's constantly on our minds. And it's always a part of the conversation that we have with the clients as well. And since it's a very natural thing, it's very easy to kind of have conversations around it and start off our projects with it. So my design philosophy in the beginning was very simple. It was to do a good building in terms of how it looked. Proportionally, it has to look good, and also it has to perform well in a context like India, in terms of how much energy it requires and how its people can feel more comfortable climatically inside the building. So these are the basic concerns in the beginning. Over time, the philosophy, my actual true philosophy of wanting to push the boundaries of what architecture can be in whatever context it is, in terms of form. So basically, we would describe ourselves as more of a sculptural practice. We want each project of ours to be in inhabitable sculptural space, while sustainability and all this is at the background. I mean, it is always there. We don't really we consciously think about it, but we don't really actively talk about it because these things are fundamental. So in that sense, almost all the projects that we do, we approach them in their own peculiar way, which every project has its own requirements. So if you ask about which kind of a project, what project that we are doing that we really like, or where the philosophy has come about. I think for each project it changes. So for example, the ADMERUS, the climatic philosophy and the sustainable and philosophy, absolutely it encapsulates that. Whereas when we look at form, not so much. So in terms of form explorations, we are looking at other projects. We are doing some residential projects, and especially the clubhouses where we get to kind of experiment with forms. So those are the projects that I'm excited about currently. And we also give a lot of conceptual proposals and some competitions where we can explore further, where we're not really tied down by budgets and some other concerns. So apart from that, we're also doing some product design. So those things are also exciting, because we're working with recycled plastics company, recycled teak companies, and those things are the exciting stuff happening. So I think there are different kinds of clients always, but we always like to work with clients who feel more responsible to climate. They also want to act on it. They have a very good awareness of these systems and these kind of practices already in place. So they come with a little bit of knowledge and they want us to explore it. So those kind of clients are always interesting for us, because one part is sustainability, which is the basic part, and then beyond that, how we can kind of push the building in terms of systems and construction methods that we can employ. These are always conversations, and clients who are generally not in a rush and who want a project that they want to build, they want to last, make it last, and they want that building to contribute to their own vision and aspirations. There are a lot of clients like that nowadays, not necessarily looking at building as just a functional object that they want a little bit of square footage, but where a building can be more than just bricks and cement and stone. So passive systems in architecture are the most fundamental things that we learn as students. It's just about the building's orientation, how the building is planned, taking care of the fenestration and the openings on, for example, the south side receives the most amount of heat, how the building is oriented. These kind of decisions that we take at the beginning of a project influence how much energy the building consumes, or how the building sits with the climate and how it interacts with it. So those are the passive systems. These are actually absolutely free to use. For example, light is free to use. So how we sort of incorporate how much light, natural light, the building can use in an office space, for example, to give openings very strategically, so that people feel closer. I mean, they don't feel cut off from nature. The more deeper a building is, you feel more cut off from nature. So taking those strategic decisions in the beginning. The active decisions are where we sit with clients. It's a discussion with both the clients as well as all the stakeholders that are in a project, because the active systems involve mechanical systems, whether it is your air conditioning system or your grey water recycling, or installing solar systems or other renewable energy for the buildings. Also employing IT solutions to manage these services. All of these come under the active systems. So this is always dependent on the client discussion that we have. A lot of clients have always been quite knowledgeable about sustainability, and they have always been looking at projects to be as sustainably as possible. and most of the Indian clients, I think for them it's value driven, how much value sustainability brings. So they look at it from that perspective. If they are not aware of this, we try to make them aware of the long-term value of during the building's life cycle, how much value they can get out of projects. Yes, there's an initial capital investment for every project that you put in, but I think clients are slowly growing more and more aware of this, and they're ready to invest in sustainable ideas. So client needs and creative vision. For example, if we take this project, the client wanted a visionary project. He wanted to establish a company in Hyderabad, India. He has global clients, so he wants the architecture to become the backdrop for his company. So that was his vision. So he had initially shared some buildings that he had looked at in Europe and Mexico and other places, and taking those ideas, and then what I would bring in terms of proportions and sculptural sensibility that is probably unique to every architect, and then bringing in climatic knowledge and active and passive systems into the project is where we try to balance both these, what I have as a vision and what the client has as a vision. So both kind of go hand in hand, and the clients also have to play a very huge part, because unless the clients has the vision to do these kind of projects, no matter how much we push them, we would not be able to do such projects. So this is the front elevation or the eastern side of the building, which is actually overlooking a huge eucalyptus forest. So what you see are these vertical fins with large openings. So we've recessed the windows inside, and the client really wanted a glazed building. So we took care of the glazing by providing low-E glass, but also recessing them deep inside reduces the morning glare. And the detail that I want to talk about over here is a very simple detail that is just simply taking care of the proportions. This is a very super modularly planned building in terms of proportions, both in the plan as well as on all sides of the facades. There's a 1.8 meter grid that has been used, and multiples of this number. So that's what you would kind of notice here. In the Indian context, courtyards play a very big role, and I think in almost all our projects we've used courtyards, whether it's a small house or a research center. So the courtyard brings in a lot of natural light into the center of the building. It also allows for a space of respite. So this is used by the occupants during the lunch to go out and relax. And over here, especially at ADMERUS, I've made sure that at least one tree comes from the ground level. So the tree's main trunk actually comes from the basement parking, and it comes out, and this is the tree that you see right here. This is something of a nice tiny detail. Another small detail that I really like is a structural detail. So what you can see is this is actually an exposed concrete building. The structure is completely exposed even on the inside, and generally when you do basements you need a large retaining wall, which is a huge amount of concrete and a lot of cost. So what we did in providing value as well as making it a bit sustainable is, to give a very passive design feature is this small 1:1 wall that you can see, which is just soil, and it has a geotextile which the plants kind of hold it in place. So the basement gets natural lighting and ventilation, and that itself is a big feature, and it saves on a lot of costs in operating for the building, but also makes it more biophilic. So first of all, we work with a lot of consultants and experts at this. Like for example, We've also asked Hydromo for some advice on a recent residential project where both the clients and us also asked. We wanted to figure out a way of saving rainwater, because reusing it, storing it, and using it for a residence for about 6,000 square feet. And we also have a checklist of stuff that we want to do for every project. Whether we can save the grey water, whether we can implement grey water recycling, black water recycling, and also rainwater. How do we sort of take care of the rainwater? Doing recharge pits. Apart from the very basics that the government and the bylaws already require us to do, we also take expert advice on new ways of maximizing water usage and efficiency using better fixtures, low volume fixtures, and all those things. And in terms of renewable energy, whatever is the latest, I think solar is a very big thing in India. It's probably going to be a lot more coming up. There are also now, I think, batteries to store energy, and looking at net zero as goals. We are doing a house with a net positive as a goal. So where basically we want it to be completely off the grid. We don't want to take any energy from the grid, and we want it to be self-sustainable in all ways. So there is also grey water recycling for that project. Black water is a tricky thing, so we are exploring that also with a expert consultant on how to deal with that. I think there are a lot of changes in architecture industries in terms of how modular construction is taking place. There's still a lot for it to cover for it to become employed on a larger scale. There are also a lot of different materials, smarter materials that are coming up, that are being researched in places that need to sort of come out. And also, I think speed of construction has become a criteria for a lot of people who want to build. So sort of balancing the speed of construction and also performances of the building. This is all in the construction place. But there's also, before construction, during the designing part, I think BIM is taken up a very big spot, because now we are able to design buildings fully and understand them even before they are built, in terms of how they perform and how much materials they take up, and etc. So I think BIM is like a huge differentiator, and for all the large projects in India as well, I think most of the large projects are being done on BIM. I think I'm not into trends of architecture. Trends keep changing. I like the fundamentals. But about tech, I'm always excited about tech innovations that happen in architecture. Currently, we are exploring how AI is influencing design decisions from conceptual presentation and also other design decisions that's happening. So yeah, AI is a very exciting place. So I think this is a very difficult question, because it's been about 10 years since I've been practicing. I still feel like I'm learning every day, and that I have to learn every day. So one piece of advice, if I have to give young architects who want to start their own practice or who are working, is probably that learning is a lifelong practice for architects. You have to sort of be you have to know what's going on in the industry across geographies, and how we can improve spaces. And apart from that, I also would say that you have to be a very patient in this industry, and try to be true to your own principles. As an architect, we not only serve clients, we serve the society as a whole. When we make better buildings, we also serve the country as a whole, because better performing buildings means better use of our own capital, and yeah, the implications are wider. So be true to your own principles. So it's a great thing that Hydromo is doing through HydroArch, promoting sustainability and issues that are a concern for all architects. It's always these sort of promotions help in getting more awareness about sustainability, that it's not necessarily an expensive thing, and these kind of things can be taken care of easily in most projects, whether it's a small residence or a large campus. It's quite easy to get these into place. So yeah, I really appreciate what they're doing. Thank you.